We are live.
Oh, good. Welcome to Live with Joan. Today we have a very fun live with Joan. And there's a lot of new people here in Learn to Communicate with Animals with Joan. So it's pretty fun. I want to welcome any new people. And for those that are new to me, my name is Joan Ranquet. I'm an animal communicator, author, healer, TEDx speaker, and founder of Communication with All Life University. And the program is really blossoming lately, FYI. We've got all sorts of programs for people to become animal communicators, energy healers, and ultimately, we've got a nature and wildlife piece that putting, we'll be putting out more and more. But I always like to start with my mission, which my mission is to empower others to deeply connect with all life so that together we can give voice to those who can't speak for themselves and ultimately heal the planet. And with that, we put a number on it this year. Last year, we said we wanted to help 1 million animals here and learn to communicate. And this year, we put it up to 5 million. And I think with all the people coming in, and I know you're out there, somehow I'm part of your mission and you're part of my mission. We're going to make the 5 million mark. So we're going to help 5 million animals this year. And so it's always been fun for me to bring on people that have not only been great friends and great advocates for animals and really who I've seen just put massive effort into creating a life that they want to live that's also helping animals. So um, I'm really excited to bring on Shannon Myers. She's not only in my first graduating class, she was kind of my Claudia in 2008. so, it's so funny that we're all on together today. She really helped me when the shaping and the getting this program off the ground. And if it honestly was, I'd left Florida and I wanted to keep people going in Florida, but I lived in Seattle. My mom had died. I got a divorce, and my dad was still alive, but he was elderly. And so it really was basically an idea that had been in my head since 2004 when my mom was dying, but it was literally Shannon's desire to keep learning that helped me really form some solid things that make the modules that we have today. So I want to welcome Shannon, and Shannon not only does animal communication now, but she's also a health coach, and we'll go into that as we go along. But welcome, Shannon. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Wow, what an introduction. I appreciate it. I'm honored to be here and I love you.
Yeah, and I love you. And if you knew Claudia better, you would love her too. So,
Oh, I already love her. Yeah.
okay, we'll make that happen. Somehow there's a visit.
It's
When,
mutual. It's
yeah,
mutual.
when we can all fly again. Mm.
That's right.
So, um, I, so I met Shannon. Maybe you can tell there was a horse expo. Okay, the puppy has a slipper of mine. That's not a toy. Sorry, we just got upstaged. Anyway, there was something called the Equine Affair in Florida, and I was a speaker and I had a booth and I did several demonstrations as we all did. And at the end of the day, when I was closing up my booth, there was Shannon. Maybe you can share what it was for you.
Yeah, I had actually just adopted and acquired three horses at that time. One started with one, and then the one was lonely. So then I took care of another and ended up keeping it. And then, of course, when you have two and you take one riding, the other's upset. So somehow I ended up with three very, very quickly. And I had ridden horses as a child, but never, yeah, never owned any as an adult. So, to go from 0 to 3 was slightly overwhelming. And a friend of mine who had about 8 could totally sympathize. So we heard about this horse expo. So we went driving up to Jacksonville and I was just so overwhelmed with everything. I didn't know where I wanted to be, and she wanted to go to certain things. And I saw Joan was having something, and it was conflicting with something. And at the time, I was obsessed with Pony Boy, so I made sure to run to his booth and get a signature on a book. And then I told my friend, I've got to go to this other booth. It's like the last day, and they're closing. And I saw Joan there, and they were packing up, and there was some nutritional stuff there, and but I went for the animal communication part of it because I was really intrigued by that. And so luckily she and I got to connect, and I told her where I lived, and I had 3 horses, and she said, you know what, my family just happens to be staying in Orlando, and my stepkids in the Disney area, and I would love a reason to not go to Disney one of the days that I'm on my vacation.
I was going to be there for a week. Claudia, yeah. Can you picture it? Me, a week. I mean, I love Disneyland, don't get me wrong, but a week?
Yeah. So lucky for me, I only live about 45 minutes north of there. And so she came to my farm, and that's kind of how it all began. And I had her there to talk to the horses because that was the animal that I knew the least about. I had 2 dogs and 1 cat and then the 3 horses. So I had, what is that? 5, 6 animals. I don't know. At least count 6, I guess. That's how it started.
What? So before we go on, Claudia, is anyone here?
Yes, I have to switch the Facebook view because a lot of people, it just says Facebook user. So give me 1 second. So we've got Bonnie Park says hi.
Hi, Bonnie.
Colette says greetings, my homies.
Hello.
Jennifer E says hi, Bonnie. Oh, they're all saying hi to each other. Oh, that's what's going on. Hold on 1 second. I got put in that. Everybody's saying hi to. Here we go. 13 comments. Jean Tyler Taylor says hi. Glad to be live. What is going on? Okay, hold on. All the comments just went away. I'm so sorry. For some reason, I can't actually. You can see them? Okay.
Yeah, Lorraine Bollinger says, sorry, I'm backing up because glasses. Woohoo, it was easy this time. Leslie Williams says hi. Christine Hope, hey, Joan, hope you're not stir crazy yet. Kim, hello, ladies. Cindy Gantz, good morning, loves. Julie Webb, yay, Shannon Myers, hey, Julie. Tracy Curran says hi to all. Christy Dowd says hi. Bonnie Parks, hi, everyone. Hi, Bonnie. Jennifer Etzweiler, sorry, I can't read. Hi, Bonnie. Oh, now we're going back to the hi back.
Yeah, that's so funny, Jennifer saying hi to everybody.
Okay, so I finally got the comments, so we're good. Okay.
All right. So what I wanted to, so how did it feel? Like I came out, you didn't really know me, I ended up spending the day. What was that like for you to have an animal communicator like do your farm?
An animal communicator do my farm. It was awesome. So when you got here, I had no expectations really, I think, and that's such a fun way to go into it because I just knew that I had these 3 beings that I was absolutely passionately in love with, that I've had a love for horses since I was born, and we don't know where it comes from because I did find out some of my grandparents on my dad's side, and I think great grandparents on my mom's side that had horses, but nobody immediately had them.
Sometimes it skips a generation.
Yeah, I had horse coloring books. I had the Breyer horses. I had a stable set up. I mean, I've just been obsessed with horses. So I got them and I was all excited, and I really had no idea what I was doing because it wasn't like I was leasing one in California and riding it at the barn every day. This was like me having to care for them. And one of the horses I adopted, Danny, he had a lot of health issues, and I took advice from, you name it, trainers, feed store, veterinarians, neighbors, anybody that had anything to do with horses. And it seemed like everything I did for him, I was making him worse. And that's actually one of the main reasons that when I met up with Joan, that I wanted to have her out there, because I thought, I don't know what else to do at this point. And I felt so sad that I took something I loved so much, and I realized maybe I wasn't the best caregiver. And if I could have some other kind of insight and maybe some stories about who they are. I already knew who my horse Prize was from the get-go. Her name says it all, a certified prize. And I had Danny and then Sky. And so it was really cool because we went out and she just said, I'm going to get quiet for a minute. She had a notebook and a pen and started writing. And, and I was just there. And it was so cool because the horses were actually, they were loose in the pasture. I didn't have anybody on a halter or lead rope. I wasn't in a barn. We just went out into the pasture. And each time she spoke to one, they stood right beside her by choice, didn't know her. So right there, I was kind of like, wow, okay, there's something to this because I know my horses. And if you don't have food, they're kind of like, see you later. So that was really cool. And then when she read the information to me, I was just like, it was exciting. It was clarifying. It gave me a sense of comfort. Now that I've been doing animal communication, I realize how important it is for those animals to be able to have you hear their story. And she literally told me just a couple things that I could do for Danny. And I thought, oh, here we go. I've got to buy more products, because everybody, I bought products and I ended up, it took me a while to get the products, but within 3 to 5 days, I saw results. But behavioral wise, my horses were different. And when she left the farm, I went out and was picking up manure. I have a little golf cart I'm always riding around in, and I have a picture of that day, Joan. And I should have sent it to you guys. I'll post it. I was sitting in the golf cart thinking about all the things Joan had said, and I was talking to them out loud and probably in my mind. I didn't know at the time. And they all three converged around the golf cart like we were having some kind of meeting. And it was probably one of the most special moments up to that point that I had had with all three horses, because I really felt like, okay, maybe I can do this. I can take care of these beautiful creatures to the best of my ability. I just have to keep learning how. That's really what drove me forward with that and the nutrition piece of it. So I'm forever grateful.
We have a very funny story about Dynamite, which we should save for a Dynamite interview. But yeah. I've been a distributor for a company it is network marketing, and some people don't like that. And I said, well, it is network marketing, but you could treat it like Costco since you have so many animals. And
and I cringed.
Oh my God! But I left her with these CDs back in the old days, CDs.
Actual CDs. You put in a CD player, right?
Yeah. And they were from my upline, who are one's still alive, one's not alive, very knowledgeable about horse nutrition. And she listened to those, and she wanted to put a $3,000 order in the next day. And I said, no. And so I'm the worst. I always joke I'm the worst salesperson, because I was like, no. We're going to start with the basics.
You're like, I literally told you 3 things. I don't understand why you have all this. Because the CD, it was like, if your animal has this issue, if your animal has that issue, well, I've got 6 animals. I'm like, oh, yes, I have that issue. I need that. Oh, I need that. And Joan's like, let's just dial it back to the 3 things we talked about.
We're going to cleanse. We're going to get everybody's pH balance. We're going to be, yeah. So, that's my unsalesman story. But anyway, so then what made you want to, was that day, what made you want to take out? Because I remember the next thing you know, I'm like driving up to your place, and there were only a few people, and my minimum was always 10 to teach. And somehow I just always was driving to Shannon's. Anyway, what made you want to learn?
That experience that day was really what flipped the switch for me. I was always interested. I grew up part of my childhood in California, so I'm a West Coast girl at heart, and non-denominational church, spiritualism, psychic fairs, past life regressions. My mom did. I don't know if she wants that up, but just I grew up with that in my field, and I've always been interested in things that I can't see, and I always know there's something more out there, and I always knew I could be better. I've loved animals since the day I was born. I'm the little girl that jumps out of the car when there's a dog hitting the road and runs up to the dog when everyone's like, don't touch it, and everyone thought I was going to become a veterinarian. And so it's always been part of who I am, and to find yet another way to be able to connect with them, not just through training or writing or doing activities, walking the dog, petting the cat, all of that's wonderful, but this is like next level. This is like how do you take that passion and wanting to know your animals more and be with them and blow it through the sky? And this is how to do that. So I was hooked from there because it changed my relationship with my horses. And that's what I was initially looking for. And then I thought, wow, this changed the relationship with my horses. What is this going to do for my dogs? And this new little cat that I got, that I don't know anything about cats either. So that's kind of what drove it. And then you and I just, I don't know, we just clicked, and we're both Scorpio moons and similar personalities. So I think it was like, hey, how can we hang out more?
Yeah. That's my sock. Leave it. Leave it. Good, leave it. Good girl.
And I'm so glad Titan decided to stop chewing his very loud bone in the background right before we started.
Shannon, I'm a Scorpio moon too. So that
All right.
explains it.
So there we go. Now we know.
I want everybody to see Penelope. She has grown since people have seen her.
Aww.
Hi.
Okay, so while we say hi to Penelope, let me share some comments.
Okay.
So Ritambara says, hi, Joan. Opal and I are here. She lives in Orcas Island, which not jealous. Michael Hofferbert says, greetings from the Pacific Northwest. Melissa Reed says, hello, all. Boo Schwartz says, hi, Claudia and Joan. Hi, Boo. Carrie Beth says, hi, ladies.
Hi,
Susan Landon Aaron says, this is great. Ritambara says, I am a distributor for Dynamite as well, introduced by Robin Littlefield here on Orcas Island. So that's it.
Yeah, Lorraine and Melissa got a few. Okay, and we have foxtails in our coat, don't we? We went on a big hike. We did a big dog hike, didn't we? So while we're taking this moment, I want to, I forgot. Do you have a copy of that book that's on our book club, Beautiful Jim Key? Because I don't have it right here with me. But I wanted to share.
Yes, hold on.
We have Energy Healing for Animals. Level 1 is starting on May 28th, and that's a 10-week course. And if you want to really be able to, what happened there?
Where?
Did I do that?
What did you do? You're still here.
Something happened. Okay. Jesus, I don't know. That was magical. Go ahead.
Okay.
So this
here's
is
the book.
Hang on. Beautiful Jim Key, and that is next week. Is that next week? Yeah, next week. Next Tuesday at 10. We're gonna have the author here with us, and then in a few weeks we're gonna do some energy. And I've gotten so many requests for readings. I might be doing some pop-up readings here. Just saying. Not that it would be Thursday at 10 or anything, but there's a possibility. So that was so much fun last week, and I really loved it. And we got to know Opal more that way. And then I also wanted to say that May 28th, if you have animals with behavioral issues and are wanting to know how to really shift things in your household, one thing that happens through the course of that class is your household shifts. Wouldn't you say, Claudia?
Yes, tremendously. Yeah, there's an absolute shift in everything in the household. I had animals that didn't get along at all. And now I have, for the most part, harmony. Sometimes they get a little rambunctious, but it's easy to put back into place. So, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if it hadn't been for this.
Yeah. And then, so we have the book club. We have May 28th. We also, in June, we have an intro to death, dying, and beyond. And in July, we have animal communication, finding lost animals through animal communication. So those are 2 little virtual retreats I have coming up. I also have, then the fall intensive. And I know it sounds crazy to start thinking about it, but I swear to God, it's time to start thinking about it. And I will do it, whether we do it online or in person, depending on what's going on the planet. So Jennifer ended up joining the spring intensive and then the big program. And her whole thought with the spring intensive was that it was cheaper because she didn't have to fly here and get a hotel room and all of that. So that's you know, I will have an option for both. I know I used to do it that way. I used to have people Skype in, and the technology wasn't that great. I didn't have as many teachers. I only had like 4 teachers at the time, but now I can have, I know how I'm going to do it. So if you're interested in the spring intensive or the fall intensive, I think the information is up on my website. If not, make sure it's up. But we do have the Energy Healing for Animals Level 1 coming up May 28th, and it's a really fun class. And it's at 11 on Thursdays a.m. Pacific and 5 p.m. Pacific. And also, of course, if you haven't read Energy Healing for Animals, I'm going to be doing a little kind of wrap up of the book clubs that I did last summer. And then my other book is Communication with All Life. And so anyway, we back to Shannon. So there we were. I was driving up and you wanted to learn animal communication. And what was that like for you? Because you were in marketing. I mean, you were in such an opposite thing.
Yeah, I owned an advertising agency at the time dealing with all automotive accounts. So there was nothing spiritual about that whatsoever. So I think that's probably why I was even more starved for this, because that's an interesting industry that I'm very grateful for, because it afforded me my farm and it afforded me the ability to take the classes and have the horses. So I'm not putting it down at all. It was a wonderful part of my life, and that's what I went to college for, was marketing. So I was fulfilling my degree, but it wasn't fulfilling my soul purpose. So I always used to tell people I was happy, but I felt like my soul was screaming. So that's kind of how I started exploring things that made my heart smile, and eventually through the universal 2x4, that's how that took over.
But let's go back to that. Your soul was screaming. You were happy, but your soul was screaming. I imagine there's a lot of people out there that are watching this right now that are wishing that they had some way of finding that place in their soul. And I think that's really, really important. I'm actually going to be addressing that coming up in the next few weeks for people, because I know this is a time when we get really, really quiet. In fact, when you joined the program was right when the economy went whoop.
Yep.
It was that full period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the big recession.
Yep.
I started a program in the recession, and you were the first person to sign up.
Yep.
I mean, that kind of says it all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a recession of the economy doesn't have to be a recession of your spirit and who you are and what you want to be in the world. It can actually be the growth period of that. So,
well, and a recession of the economy is a great time for people to really get clear.
Yeah.
How do they want to be in that space? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think there's a lot, there's a lot to that for people right now. Mm-hmm. And I certainly have programs, but I will be bringing on other people here for different things. And of course, I can keep your soul fed through books. And we've got the book club coming up again next week. We'll plug for that. But anyway.
And I jumped in on the spring intensive for the EFT part, and I wouldn't have been able to participate in that. So
yeah,
that was,
if it weren't for the shelter in place.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and hopefully you're joining us for the Energy Healing for Animals class, which is so fun, so fun. Anyway, so when I first started the program, I mean, we went to Little Bit Therapeutic Riding Center and talked to horses. We did all kinds of field trips. We went and did an orb tour in Casadega. I mean, we did all kinds of fun stuff. We had a pumpkin carving contest after the Death and Dying class. We did a ghost tour in Seattle for your graduation. Yeah, we did a lot of fun stuff. There were only 5 people in the first year, and then 2 more people joined halfway through. Then more people, and eventually the school really got going. But that was the initial thing. And it was calls advanced calls every other Tuesday night. I always had the Monday calls. Eventually, after you graduated, I really threw in the EFT once I got that book deal. But we always did scalar wave. We worked on chakras. We did all the things that are in the school now that are big programs. For the big program, we did. We did in Florida. We did in Seattle, and it was very, very fun.
Yeah.
And what was it like for you to host workshops down? It was so fun.
Oh my God, it was great. I mean, I have. My house is older, but it's big. I rattle around in here, and I knew it had purpose. My property, I actually came up, the universe delivered me the name of my property when you were creating a flyer, and you're like, I need a name for your farm. I'm like, oh, I don't have a name. And so I came up with all these names because I'm obsessed with eagles, and we have a lot of eagles on the farm. And I love the color cobalt blue. So I was like, oh, Cobalt Acres, that'll be fun. Nothing was resonating. And so I just said, okay, universe, I'm going to bed. When I wake up, I need a name for the farm. Joan has to do a flyer tomorrow. So I literally woke up and heard Sacred Acres. And that's been the name of my farm ever since. And my mom was sweet enough to get me a sign that hangs out front that says Sacred Acres. And Mr. Cecil that boards here, I have a little iron cutout that has a horse with a dog on its back with a cat on its back. So everybody knows what's at Sacred Acres. And it's truly sacred. I've been here 16 years now. This place feeds my soul. It's been a wonderful home for all my animals that have come and maybe are not here in physical form anymore, but are here in spirit form. And I feel very blessed. And being able, when we were small like that, it was almost like a giant slumber party because I had some extra bedrooms, and it was so wonderful at the time that my neighbors got involved. Like, Mr. Bob down the road was like, come to my barn. And these are people that I wouldn't have thought in a million years would even like jump in with animal communication. And then I had some neighbors behind a gated community, and they're an older couple that, they were amazing, the Whitakers. And they just said they opened their home to people they've never met to stay. And
it was before Airbnb, we called it dorms.
Yeah, we had
rent out dorms.
Yeah. And it was really fun. And then the same thing when we went to Seattle. So, me and my classmates from Florida, we were in different cities. One was in Daytona, one was in South Florida. I was here. Two were in South Florida,
Fort Lauderdale.
Actually. Fort Lauderdale. And so we all flew different flights, but we all got to the airport, some of us at the same time. We would wait for each other. And of course, Veronica always, you could spot her. She had blankets and Disney characters and stuffed animals. She was so much fun. And so we would meet up, and they didn't have Uber. Joan would arrange for people to pick us up, and we would end up at her farm. And then some people stayed at her friend's house. We did the same thing there. We had dorms on your side. So it was
so fun.
Pretty cool.
Claudia, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did, because there's a couple of comments. So going all the way back here, talking back about the spring intensive. Hold on, Cindy Gans Turner said that the only reason she was able to join and be a part of it was because it was on Zoom this year. So, and Jennifer E said, and it totally rocked on Zoom.
We're doing it again. We're going to do both if we can, but if we can't, then, Cindy's going to be at the fall intensive. So
exactly. And then Christina Hope says she can relate to the soul screaming. We all can. And then someone asked me a question about the harmony in my home, because Laura Wessner jumped on and heard me talk about that. And then Julie Jacobs says, Casadega when you taught at the farm, and Scorpio, Shannon.
Yeah.
And then she says, Shannon's farm is the best. Laura Wessner says, you people make my soul happy. And and Julie Jacobs says she remembers Mr. Bob Barn.
Yeah.
So
Julie was in the third year, I think, of the program, or the second year. She was one of the people in there with Kate, and anyway, there were a lot of fun people. Okay, so so then you got completely interested in health and that took you into, I mean, you were interested in animal health, and it's pretty funny how you ended up doing what you do now. So go ahead and share that story.
Well, and the animal communication was easy for me to continue that because my mom was very interested in it, and she's extremely talented and connected to animals. So we used to take trips down to South Florida to Joan's house to take classes in between too. And then Joan was actually, was teaching. I forget, what was it called? Was it reading between the lines, I think, or something. And we we were learning how to read labels, pet food labels, and that just like, that was it. I was done. I found my calling because I've always been interested in nutrition and health. My mom's been very healthy, and again, growing up on the West Coast, that was just sort of a part of life. And so I found my niche. I love science. I love learning about minerals and vitamins and how the body works. And so I'm kind of like science meets woo woo, and that's where I live. And so that was just like, that sparked such a huge passion in me. And I just really continued with that. So I continued to study with Regan and Judy and Joan and the Dynamite Company, and learning as much as I could possibly learn. And so you want me to tell you how I became a health coach?
Yeah, I think it's so funny. So
it's hysterical.
In my school, you have to do electives, right? You have to do an energetic elective, so that something other than Reiki and something other than what I teach, and then a body work elective. So we have some, guidelines, but it's open. So go ahead.
Well, yeah. So I actually chose EFT, and I got to study with Dr. Garland Landron, who was he was in the movie What the Bleep, and then I did level 1 chakra awakening with Margaret Ann Lembo, and of course crystals. So I'm forever obsessed with crystals. I did some essentials oil stuff. I think we were working with a different company back then, Frogworks or something, and then my other certification that I got certified in was Healing Touch. And so that was my body. Those were my two. So the body work was Healing Touch, and then EFT was the other energy work, aside from the scalar wave, which to this day, that's still probably my absolute favorite, most powerful,
me too,
most misunderstood, underused energy out there. So that I was hooked on. And then of course the nutrition piece. So I loved my elective. My electives just kept me going and going. And I mean, I always have some gorgeous crystals around me. Friend gave me this. Looks got a heart on it. Isn't that cool?
That's beautiful.
So, I mean, I've got them everywhere, and animals everywhere, and I'm constantly using these tools every day throughout my life, and I know that they help me work on who I am. So I said, okay, well, long story short, lost my ad agency because I lost my 3 biggest accounts. I could have continued it. I could have picked up new accounts, but Joan actually sent me angels back, I think it was 2009, 2008. It was maybe it was 2008. And at the time, angels were going around, and you could, they would send you, here's the things, have some white candles and some white flowers, and open your door and write down 3 things and put them in a white envelope, 3 wishes or 3 things that you'd like to see in your life, and just, leave it up to the angels, right? And so I did that. And it was a magical and beautiful night, and put it in an envelope. Didn't think much of it. Lost 3 huge accounts after the recession in 2008. It was 2010. And I just was crushed. And I thought, I don't have a plan B. And so I was cleaning out my office. I work at home. I worked at home then too. I'm unemployable at this point. So I cleared out my office and found this envelope, and it just said like my 3 wishes or something. I was like, what is this? Right. So I haven't looked at it in 2 years. Open it up, and the first thing it says is, I want to help animals and people get healthy. And so apparently the universe was like, we're on it. So 2008 is when I started the university. 2010 is when I graduated. I was getting those lovely universal whispers and taps and intuition and all that. And, but the paycheck was coming from the ad agency, which is what I knew. And I was just like I said, my soul was screaming. It wasn't something that I wanted to continue. In fact, I got reminded by a guy who helped me start my agency. I thought you were going to do this for like 2 years and then figure out what you wanted to do. 13 years later. So yeah, I got the universal 2x4. The universal like, all right, she's not listening, so just yank the rug out from under her. So it took my 3 biggest clients, boom, done. I'm not employed by anyone, can't collect unemployment, and was kind of stunned. And I found those wishes, and I thought, well, I did ask for this, so here we go. And then as far as being a health coach, I actually wasn't looking to be a health coach. I wanted to be an animal nutritionist. That is what I had decided. I talked to Joan. I was like, I still do animal communication. I still love that. I'm still plugged into that. I still have clients, but I really this is my passion, is nutrition and health for animals, because I was able to completely transform my animals' lives. Obviously not save them all in every situation. I've lost animals just like everybody has, but to be able to have palliative care, or maybe you can't get a hold of a vet. It's 2:00 in the morning on a Sunday. That's when this always happens. And so what can I do? How can I help other people? How can I teach them about label reading so they don't have to have these issues? So that's what I was doing. So I got on the internet, good old Google, and I put in animal nutrition certification, and up came the school that I ended up going to. Well, I called them. I thought, this is amazing. There's a whole school. So I'm on the phone and they're interviewing me, and they're like, da 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 da. We're going through, and I'm telling them all about animals. And they said, okay, well, so when you become a health coach, and I'm like, a health coach? And they said, yes. I said, for people? And they said, yes, that's what we certify people. And I said, oh, I wanted to do your animal nutrition certification. They said, oh, we don't have that. But wow, that sounds really interesting. You could create that. And I thought, I'm not really looking to create it. I kind of want to get certified. So long story short, I ended up being intrigued by what they had to say. And I thought, well, what the heck? I love, some people who love animals say, oh, I don't like people. But honestly, I love both, because it's people who have the animals, and I love all beings. And so I thought, well, why not? This is a career, right? This is cool. There's a whole university about this also. I've been through the Animal Communication University. Let's go through the Health Coaching University. So I did that for 1.5 years. And that's how I became a health coach, actually. So,
but you still do animal communication.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you still help people with their health.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah. Yep. That's those are my two go-tos. And what's nice is, when I'm working with people for health coaching, obviously I help people get healthy, lose weight, help with certain disease states and be affected by healthy habits, not just with eating, but all of them: mindset, sleep, stress, all the good stuff. And a lot of the people I work with have animals. So, we end up talking about their animals. I just had somebody send me a picture of their dog's foot, So, it's always been woven together for me. There's not a separation of that in my life. And I'm so thrilled that I get to do both.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder, Claudia, if anyone has any questions, comments, or observations.
Just people are loving the whole unemployable. A lot of us have been there.
Yeah, I can't go to the old job anymore. I'm gonna have to work from home after all these years.
And Rose DeDan commented on the Reiki. She said, "I'm so sorry to hear that Reiki is no longer eligible as an elective for your classes." I have
never was eligible because everybody does it. I don't mind if they take it from Rose, but it was never. I mean, so many people already come with it. What I want is for people to explore something else, but it doesn't mean that they couldn't still take a class from Rose.
And
our point is to get beyond the just to keep the exploration going. I mean, I would love for people to take a class with you, Rose, but it's not, most people have taken Reiki somewhere.
Yeah, it was to expand your awareness of other types of energy work, because I think most people, especially now, but I mean, we're talking 10 years ago, and even 10 years ago, Reiki was really the only thing that people were talking about when it came to energy work, and it's powerful.
So
and it's
I
amazing,
just assume everybody's taken it.
Yeah, and so we wanted to expand.
And as
go into like aromatherapy, as really in aromatherapy and not with a company, and really going into
crystal healing, colors, sound, all the
flower
things.
essence.
Yep.
Yeah, as the customer care for the Seawall U program, a lot of people come in and say, "Well, I'm a Reiki healer, so I don't need to do the elective." No, you need to do another elective. So many people come in already with Reiki. But
Yeah.
she says, let me just really quick says, I've definitely enjoyed having your students in my classes, as you have a high level of training standard for your students. They are also great people. LOL.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have classes coming up, please, we need to get on the phone anyway, Rose. So, but
Okay, there's more comments. So, hold on. Okay. Sorry, they keep like disappearing.
I know. See you guys. There's something weird on my screen. I'm just pretending I can see you. And
So
even-
yeah,
We can see you.
I'm assuming it's pronounced Ginger. I've just started my journey. Okay, and it just went away. I've just started my journey, but I'm having difficulty. My old girl needs me. She's having a hard time. So are you? So that's that. And then hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh,
What other?
someone wants to know, Jin Shin is
Yeah.
an elective. They said that's amazing work. Is that an elective?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jin Shin is it's like a type of acupressure. It's who wrote that?
Yeah, it's just, I'm sorry, you guys. It just keeps jumping and skipping.
Rita Mambahara.
Ridambara Tyson. Yeah. And then
Christina Hope, what other modalities are acceptable?
We have a whole list.
We have a whole list in the syllabus, Christina. So yeah, that's it. Sorry guys. If I will go back and go through the comments and make sure everything gets addressed. It just keeps jumping and skipping, and I don't know what is going on with this today. I apologize. Okay.
You should see what I see. I just see a little, I don't know how something dropped, and I don't want to touch it because
don't leave.
Yeah.
Don't touch it. Please don't. Okay. So just to be mindful of the time, Joan, because you have to teach at 11, and Shannon, we don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's 10:42 right now.
Okay. And we don't, I'm not teaching today. Mary Beth has one of her clients, a tough case for the advanced students. And tonight is another tough case. So I know a few of you are just joining the advanced. So like Julie and a few people on today, Bonnie. So we've got some fun ahead. But I check in with everybody before they teach. So what in a perfect world, you get to do both. You're kind of living your dream, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I've always wanted horses when I was a little girl and in a farm. And I drew a picture of myself. I think I was 7 in school. And everybody said, draw where you're going to be in 15 years or whatever. And I drew a picture of a girl looking out a 2-story window with a dog sitting next to her. And if I could show you guys, I'm sitting here looking out a window. I have a 2-story house and my dog has always been here in my office with me. So it's kind of, maybe I guess my childlike self knew more than I did as an adult. That got crowded out.
And I love your farm. I want to come back and teach. We were starting to put that together.
I know. Silly.
Oh well, next year.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah,
Sacred Acres is always open.
Yeah, and you had such great teachers, Professor Riley, the dog, and Jenna, and
yeah,
they were almost like my own niece and nephew dogs.
Let's see.
I would go hiking. I would take Riley on my walks.
Take this one hiking. Yep, he would go hiking.
Yeah. Because when I'm on a trip, my life doesn't change. I'm out the door on a walk.
And Jenna would sleep with you because Jenna was all about sleeping. Anything sleeping oriented. And she was like, that would be me. I'll sign up for that one.
Yeah, Jenna would sleep with me in the guest room. And Claudia, you would lose your mind over Jenna. She's a big pit. She was my sleeping buddy.
She was a good sleeping buddy for sure.
Yeah.
Trying to see. Yeah,
But
Shannon and I seem to have the same taste in dogs.
Mhm.
so there's my little
that was
that
my
little
sleeping
sweet
partner.
face. Yeah, she's pretty cute.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to post all your information. I would say that if people want to get health coaching, Shannon's amazing. She's also really good with nutrition and animals, and great animal communicator. And
Now EFT, I can
and now
practice EFT.
EFT.
I need a bunch
Yep.
of case studies. So.
And I would say that also, just following her, you don't know how many recipes I have in my computer from following Shannon on Facebook.
Yay!
Yeah, no, if it's vegan, I'm in.
Awesome.
And even before I was vegan, like years ago, I would always, as you started this journey, I've got a million in my computer. So
Hey, thank you.
yeah, I love everything. I mean, I still make the I call it swirled cauliflower, the cauliflower and spinach thing. You've had that, Claudia.
Oh,
That was one of
yeah.
the recipes from.
Wait, is that your recipe, Shannon?
Yeah, the cauliflower spinach dip.
That is
Yay!
like one of my favorite things
That's
that Joan
my-
has made. It's, oh my God.
Yay!
That's my dinner at the time. Anyway, so it's worth so we'll put Shannon's info in the feed here, and here comes Abby, Abzilla. Anyway, so of course Abby didn't make it over because she's doing a Jenna imitation and just laying down. So anyway, this has been really fun, and just want to remind people of things coming up again. So thank you, Shannon, for being with us. Is there anything else that you would want to share about your journey? And
just follow your intuitive nudges. You're getting signs. Don't wait for the universal 2x4. If you have something that you're passionate about, this is the time. Like, not only has the whole world slowed down, but if you follow astrology, we have 3 major planets getting ready to go retrograde. This is the time. Like, look inside, listen to the stirrings of your heart. If animals are your passion, please just check out Joan's stuff. Like, I mean, it just took one thing to blow my mind open and led me here. Really, I don't know where I would be, and I'm not saying that like, oh gosh, my life would be awful, but I don't know where I would be if I hadn't followed the urge to get horses and get 3 of them and get overwhelmed and drive to Jacksonville and go to Joan's booth running after, before they close. Like, all of these things, when you look back, you think there's no coincidences, right? They're all coordinated incidences to take you on your path, and there's no wrong way. So yeah, I mean, just find what you love and do that. And if you need to do it as a side hustle, that's okay. Thank God, I thought I didn't have a plan B, but I guess I did. I had been studying for my plan B. And so thank goodness that became my plan A. And I have been fortunate enough since 2010, when I thought my financial world fell apart. There were some tough times, I'm not going to lie. But, I made it through, and I still get to do what I love, and I still get to live on this beautiful farm, and I still get to help people and animals, which I could cry about. That's my absolute passion. If I could afford not to get paid to do that, that's what I would do. And I think that's a tip. If there's something that you love to do that you wouldn't give a hoot about making $1, I still don't care. I still help people when I can for free. I still do Facebook Lives. I do put recipes. I will answer your health questions to the best of my ability, or your animals questions. So, thank you for having me. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for mentoring me. Thank you for being one of my best friends forever. And, I know you had put on the questions, what do I want to be when I grow up? I don't want to grow up. I hope I get to stay childlike and creative and invent myself over and over. I just turned 50 last year, and I can't wait to see what I'm going to be when I grow up, whenever that is.
Yeah, it just keeps evolving. Well, thank you. And I love you, and I'm so glad you're in my life. And
me too.
We'll visit again one day.
And thanks, Claudia, for taking over and doing a spectacular job. Unbelievable.
you.
I mean, I'm blown away when
Yeah.
I was on that spring intensive, you guys. I mean, we did the best we could in the beginning and we did great, but this has evolved into I'm so proud of Joan and what she's accomplished and the people that she's attracted. And you guys are awesome and amazing and you're a great team. And I'm happy to still be involved. So
Thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm glad that I got to meet you. So virtually, we'll get to meet in person. But I just want to wrap it up with some last comments. And I'm going to do it from StreamYard so I don't get that thing happening. Ashley McDowell Y says, love your story, Shannon. We're looking for a farm. Facebook user, I'm not gonna look up the name, says great recipes. She saves them too. Lorraine Bollinger says, post that recipe about the cauliflower and spinach, please.
will do.
Oh,
Yes, a lot of people posted that. Someone else said, love Shannon's journey. Kim Nishida says, thanks for sharing your great story, Shannon. Lorraine Bollinger says,
Kim.
there's so much to take advantage of. It's hard to settle and do them over time. Yep. Facebook user, yes, everything happens simultaneously for a reason. Bonnie Park says, we love you, Shannon. Someone is asking, when will Shannon be on FB Live?
You can check out Shannon Myers health coaching and my Shannon Myers regular page. I go live. I've been doing it. There's some old lives back in there. I go live every Wednesday to promote other beautiful entrepreneurial women who are helping people. I just did sound healing with Jill. I've done all kinds of EFT tapping. Oh, hello. So yeah, I'm kind of always hopping on live, and I did something with Joan, which is really cool. And that's actually on there too. It's, did we? No. Yes. We did a Facebook Live, right? I can't even remember.
We haven't done one.
Okay. Well, we need to do one of those too. So
yeah.
Okay. And so someone wants to know your email for their daughter.
Email. Yeah, we can post it below.
Yeah.
We'll post all that stuff in there. That would be great to get. Yeah. Shannon is amazing and very compassionate, non-judgmental, and super inspirational.
Thank you.
So for all of you who want Shannon's information, we will make sure to post it in the comments. We will post her website, her email address, and anything else she wants to share.
Yeah. Yep. And my animal page is for your animal's health. So I have a couple of Facebook pages that I'm managing, and you can find me on Instagram. I'm all over the place.
Okay. So thank you, Shannon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
Right. And real quick, so if you'll put the book back up again, next week is Beautiful Jim Key. And it's really the beginnings of how the Humane Society or the ASPCA began. This guy who was a former slave traveled with this amazing horse and showed the intelligence of horses through his journey of, it's a crazy, great story. And anyway, hope you'll join us while I interview the author next week for the book club. And also we have May 28th, we have the the energy healing for animals level 1. And we have Intro to Death, Dying, and Beyond in June, and the Finding Lost Animals through Animal Communication in July, and we have the fall intensive. And also, don't forget, I've got the new show.
Sorry about that.
Why are you saying?
See how excited he is over the spring intensive? The fall intensive. I would be too. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Titan
all right,
wasn't
but anyway,
sleeping,
we'll see you guys next week. There may be a pop-up of free readings. Maybe. If there was going to be one, maybe it's Thursday at 10. But I'm just saying, maybe. All right. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Love you all.
Bye.
Take care.